Hence we are starting a new chapter, hydrogen. We will start with introduction. The dihydrogen is nothing but hydrogen molecule available in most abundance in the world. Better word is universe, and having number 3 in the order on the surface of the earth, is seen as the biggest source of energy in future. So better word universe. The highest proportion of any element on this universe is hydrogen, but due to its very less molecular weight, as we know that just 2 gram per mole, the gravitational pull of earth could not hold it for long, so most of the hydrogen has been escaped up till now, and now it has been stable or settled over the stars like sun. Still it is in the 3rd rank on this earth, and it is going to be the biggest source of energy for us. We will discuss this later on. Amongst all the elements, hydrogen has the simplest atomic and molecular structure. It is composed of only one proton. You can see only one proton is there and one electron. It has no neutron, but still we know that there are 3 isotopes of hydrogen. One is protium, the other is deuterium, and the one is tritium. So there is no neutron, 1 neutron and 2 neutrons. That we will discuss later on. It exists as a diatomic molecule. You can see molecular formula of hydrogen is H2. So it is diatomic in nature. It forms many compounds as compared to other elements. The most famous compound, that is called life, that is nothing but water. Formula of water is H2O, and hydrocarbon compounds are also there. The name itself suggests that it has 2 elements, hydrogen and carbon, and our interest is hydrogen. So these 2 are very famous compounds for hydrogen. Do you know that dihydrogen can be used as an energy related source so that global problem can be solved? That we will discuss later on in this. If it can be made a source of energy, scientists can achieve much more about energy. In fact, dihydrogen possesses great industrial importance, which we will discuss in this unit later on. Position of hydrogen in the periodic table. Position of hydrogen in the periodic table still has a point of discussion or a matter of controversy. Let's discuss it in detail. Hydrogen is the first element of the first period of the periodic table. Even then, its position in periodic table has remained a subject of discussion. As compared to all the elements, its atomic structure is the simplest. The atomic number of hydrogen is Z equals to 1 and atomic mass is 1.0054 AMU. Hence, it is considered as the first element in the periodic table. The physical properties of hydrogen are like those of non-metals, while some chemical properties are like those of metals and non-metals. Take care, this can be asked for MCQ purpose, that physical properties of hydrogen matches with non-metals and chemical properties are somewhat matching with metals and somewhat matching with non-metal. The electronic configuration of hydrogen is 1s1, very simple, only because only one electron is there, and that will enter into the lowest energy level. The electronic configuration of hydrogen is 1s1, which is similar to the outermost electronic configuration of the alkali metals of group 1. As we know that their electron configuration is NS1. For alkali, as we know that lithium is 2s1, sodium is 3s1, in general is ns1. So this electron configuration 1s1 also matches with that. On the other hand, by accepting an electron, it can attain the electron configuration of noble gas helium also. So when it accepts one electron, it will turn into 1s2. Alkali metals form positively charged ions like Li plus, Na plus, K plus by losing one electron. Similarly, hydrogen can lose one electron and form positively charged ion or cation H plus. You can see that these all are Li plus, Na plus, K plus. Similar to them, hydrogen can also form H plus. The value of metals is considered as +1. Like alkali metals, plus forms stable oxides, peroxides, halides and sulfide ions like Na2O2, H2O2, NaCl, HCl, Na2S, H2S. So it's a good comparison. You can see over here that sodium peroxide, hydrogen peroxide, sodium chloride, hydrogen chloride, sodium sulfide, hydrogen sulfide. So whatever the compounds are formed by alkali metals, hydrogen also can form the similar compounds. Hydrogen, like alkali metals, is a strong reducing agent. So we know that hydrogen itself comes in the definition of reduction, that addition of hydrogen is called reduction. Metals are strong reducing agent on the basis of what? That alkali metals have good tendency to release electrons. Why? Because in their outermost orbit only one electron is there, as per just we have seen ns. So these electron can be easily released, and if they easily release electrons, they undergo oxidation very much easily, and hence we have studied in redox that anyone that releases electrons easily can work as agent. Though alkali metals are obtained in solid form, hydrogen is a gaseous non-metals. Alkali are metals. See this? They are obtained in solid form, solid sodium, solid potassium, while hydrogen is gas. What we write for hydrogen is H2 gas, is it? The ionization of metals is very less, while the ionization enthalpy of hydrogen is very high. You see, lithium is the first member whose first ionization enthalpy, you can see, just 520 kilojoule per mole. And we know that as we go down in the group, what happens? First one is lithium, right? After that there is sodium, and then potassium, and so on. So if lithium is 520, definitely sodium will be less than that, potassium will be even less than that. Below that it is rubidium. After that there is a cesium, and the last one, of course, it's radioactive francium. So all these will have in decreasing order. And you see that if we put hydrogen above lithium in the alkali group, you can see this, its value is 1312. It's very high. So though hydrogen can form H plus, the value of first ionization enthalpy or the only ionization enthalpy very high. With reference to ionization enthalpy, hydrogen has more similarity with halogens. You can see halogen. First halogen is fluorine. You can see its ionization enthalpy is 168 kilojoule per mole, and that of hydrogen, just we have seen, it was 1312. So this is a good match with this. Hydrogen can be placed with halogens in group 17. Old group number is 7th A. Because hydrogen possesses similarity with halogen elements of group 17 also. Hydrogen forms hydride ion by accepting one electron, whereas halogen forms halide ion by receiving one. Now we know that in case of hydrogen is 1s1. So to complete its octet, it will accept one electron and it will form 1s. Now it has, earlier it was this one electron configuration, but now it has more stable configuration. Now think of halogen. Halogen is NS 2 and p5. They have total 7 electrons. 7 electrons, so plus 1, they will complete their octet. So they form what? They form F minus, Cl minus, Br minus, I minus by accepting 1 electron. The same is the case for hydrogen. Hydrogen accepts 1 electron and form H minus. As halogen elements form stable diatomic molecules F2, Cl2, Br2, hydrogen molecules form diatomic molecule H2. So you can find the similarity that all these are diatomic molecule. Hydrogen is also a diatomic molecule. It combines with strongly electropositive elements like metals and form hydride compounds, but in reference to reactivity, it possesses very reactivity in comparison to halogens. So hydrogen combines with metal to form hydride compounds. It's true, but the reactivity of hydrogen is very less as compared to halogen compounds. Why? Because halogens are very much desperate to accept the electron, but hydrogen is not that much. Halogen elements are colored and strong oxidizing agents, whereas hydrogen is a strong reducing agent. This is a major difference. The very first one, that is the color. Now that fluorine and chlorine is faintly yellow, chlorine is yellowish green color, bromine is red brown liquid, and iodine is violet crystal. Now hydrogen, very first thing, that hydrogen is colorless. And very important, it's a reducing agent. Why? Because by definition itself we know that hydrogen addition is called reduction, while halogen elements are strong oxidizing agent. They are strong oxidizing agent. How come? Only because halogen element, if I take, it has a good tendency to accept the electron and they will turn into X minus. So if they turn into X minus, definitely they are called what? They undergo reduction. They undergo reduction. So if they are undergoing reduction, they are called what? They are called oxidizing agent. But hydrogen is not oxidizing agent. It is strong reducing agent. Only in reaction with metals. Let's take the example of sodium reacting with hydrogen. See this. So if I balance this reaction in this way, in this reaction only hydrogen has worked as an oxidizing agent. Only because this sodium is 0, hydrogen is 0, sodium plus 1, hydrogen is minus 1. So sodium converts from 0 to plus 1. You see this. So sodium undergoes oxidation by what? By reaction with hydrogen. So in this case hydrogen works as an oxidizing agent. Otherwise hydrogen works always as a reducing agent. Though hydrogen resembles alkali metals in many definite aspects, is also resembling non-metallic halogen atoms. In fact, it differs from them also. Hence, the position of hydrogen is still uncertain, that whether it can be considered in first group or in 17th group. Hence, nowadays, instead of showing in first group or 17th group, it is shown in the middle of the first period. Hydrogen loses 1 electron and forms proton H plus. Ionic radius is very small, 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 picometer. Picometer is nothing but 10 raised to minus 12. The ion which is formed is very small in relation to any other atom or ionic size. Generally ionic size is very small, and this ionic size is 50 to 200 picometer. So any ion is found in the range of 50 to 200 picometer, but you see the size of hydrogen ion is 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 picometer. Why so? Only because what is hydrogen? Hydrogen is this is nucleus, and outside nucleus electron is revolving. Right, now if this electron goes away, what is left is just nucleus, and in that nucleus only one proton is there, right? So this is the sub H plus is nothing but size of proton. So it's very small. Hence H plus cannot have free existence, and it immediately combines with other atom or molecule. Combines with water to form H3O plus. You might have studied this, must be in your lower standard also. Generally nowadays it has been found out that H plus generally combines with 4 molecules of water and turns into H9O4 plus 8 hydrogen plus 1 hydrogen, 9 hydrogen, and O4 plus. So take care. Hence hydrogen element is unique from behavior point of view, therefore it is placed separately in the first period, in the middle of the period. Isotopes of hydrogen. There are 3 isotopes of hydrogen which are known as protium, deuterium or heavy hydrogen, and tritium. Now look at the symbol. Protium 1H1, deuterium is 1H, it is also denoted as capital D, and tritium is 1H3 and T. Now protium, this is atomic number 1, number of proton and neutron total is 1. So 1 proton and no neutron, while in case of heavy hydrogen or deuterium, 1 proton and neutron. So mass number is 2, while in case of tritium 1 proton and 2 neutrons, so mass number is 3. These isotopes differ from the point of view of presence of neutrons. American scientist Harold C. Urey, so you will remember this name, who received the Nobel Prize in 1934 for the separation of isotopes of hydrogen by physical method. Natural abundance, all 3 hydrogen atoms or all 3 isotopes are together. This is the genius person who could separate all 3 isotopes by physical method. The nucleus of protium possesses only 1 proton, deuterium possesses 1 proton and 1 neutron, and tritium possesses 1 proton and 2 neutrons. Thus their mass numbers are 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Protium is in the highest in dihydrogen available in nature. Its atoms are about 5,000 times more than that of deuterium. So if we compare protium and deuterium, they are in 5,000:1. The proportion of tritium in atoms is overall abundance is very less. The relative proportion of atoms of tritium and protium is 1:10⁻17. So in natural abundance, when you find 10⁻17 atoms of protium, you find 1 tritium atom. Why it's so? The property responsible for very low proportion of tritium is its radioactivity and emission of low energy. It should be beta particle. It should be beta particles. Its half-life is 12.33 years. Now, first of all, we will understand that which kind of radioactive reaction it goes through. This is 1H3. It emits a particle and converts into isotope of helium -1E0. This is called beta particle. Now you can see that 1 is the atomic number. It should be balanced as 2 minus 1 is 1, and 3 is the mass number. 3 plus 0, it's 3. Now it is given its HLP, half-life period is 12.33 years. It's really a small value. Why so? So first of all, we should understand what is called HLP, half-life period, half-life. Any radioactive element has a tendency to disintegrate into other elements isotope. So its own isotopes or other elements isotope must be a stable isotope. Now when it starts disintegrating, it will enter alpha particle or beta particle or gamma particle also. So if it emits into alpha and beta particle, definitely it turns into another isotope. So if we start with say gram quantity of that radioactive isotope, so as the time passes, this 1 gram will decrease. It will turn into 0.99, and then it will turn to 0.98, and it will turn into 0.97, and it goes on. So as the time passes, the quantity of our radioactive element keeps decreases. So after some time, it will left over 0.5 gram. So we started with 1 gram, and now 0.5 gram is left. So we have reached the half quantity of initial quantity. So time required for the reaction in which the quantity of radioactive isotope decreases to 50%. So time required to complete the radioactivity reaction by 50%. In 50% time, what happens? Its amount is reduced to 50% from original quantity. This time required is called half reaction time. So time required for reaction to complete by 50% is called half reaction time. What does it indicate in our case? That if you start 1 gram tritium, it reaches to 0.5 gram tritium. By converting into helium isotope, the time required will be 12.33 years. Now it's a very small value. Of course, you may find that it's a huge value. Why? Because it's 12.33 years. But as compared to other radioactive element, this value is very small. Say for example, if you think of uranium, its value is 4.5 into 10 raised to 5 years. And even for carbon, you know that you have studied in your lower under that C14 radiometric dating. So radioisotopes theory you might have studied. It has 4780 years. So it's very high value. So as it is very small value, it continuously being converted into isotopes of helium, and that's why its concentration is very low. As the electronic configuration of these three isotopes is the same, their chemical properties are similar, but because of the difference in their binding energy, the change in reaction rate is observed. See, even if it is hydrogen, means proton, or deuterium or tritium, we know that all these have only one electron, and all these have same electron configuration 1s1. And we know that chemical properties depend on electron configuration of elements. So all these have same electron configuration, so definitely they will have same chemical properties, but their binding energy is different, so rate of reaction will be different. Now what is binding energy? In case of protium, we know that only one proton is there. In case of deuterium, one proton and one neutron is there, while in case of tritium, one proton and two neutrons are there. So in nucleus, in this only one proton has to stay, while in this case one proton and one neutron, while in this case one proton and two neutrons. So binding force will be different, and definitely masses are also different from these to these. This has 1 unit mass, this has 2 unit mass, this has 3 unit mass. Definitely rate of reaction will be different. Protium will be the fastest in chemical reaction, deuterium will be less, and we should not discuss any chemical properties of tritium. Why? Because it is radioactive. The physical properties of these isotopes are quite different because of their abundant quantity. Preparation of dihydrogen and its physical properties. Hydrogen is available in abundance in the nature in the form of compound water. The most available compound on earth is the water, and that is the compound of hydrogen and oxygen. Generally, dihydrogen can be obtained by the reaction of zinc metal with dilute hydrochloric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, or concentrated aqueous alkali. So we take care that whenever we use acid, definitely it is going to be dilute. But alkali, you see this is a concentrated one. Reactions are very simple only because we know since long that whenever metal reacts with acid, it always gives salt and liberation of hydrogen gas. So zinc plus twice HCl gives ZnCl2 plus hydrogen. Zinc plus H2SO4 gives ZnSO4 plus hydrogen, and zinc plus twice NaOH gives Na2Z. That is the formula of sodium zincate and liberation of hydrogen gas. In laboratory, generally dihydrogen gas is prepared by reaction between zinc and dilute sulfuric acid. Industrial preparation of dihydrogen. Hydrogen can be obtained by electrolysis of water in which few drops of sulfuric acid are added between the platinum electrodes. So why this sulfuric acid is added, you must be knowing that as such water is a very poor conductor of electricity. So if we add sulfuric acid, it makes it more conductor. So electrolysis can happen easily. So water undergoes electrolysis with traces of amount of acid, hydrogen gas and oxygen gas is obtained. You know that oxygen is liberated at anode by oxidation of water, and by reduction of water at cathode we get hydrogen gas, and they are always obtained in 2:1 mole proportion. To obtain pure dihydrogen, the hot aqueous solution of barium hydroxide is electrolyzed between two nickel electrodes. This is very precise condition and frequently asked for MCQ purpose. See, first of all, how much pure hydrogen you need. By this method you get hydrogen purity higher than 99.95%. Condition: hot aqueous solution of barium hydroxide, that is BaOH twice, barium hydroxide, is electrolyzed between two nickel electrodes. Two means what? Anode also nickel and cathode also nickel. So we'll be careful. Let's revise. Greater than 99.95% purity, hot aqueous solution of barium hydroxide using anode and cathode both of nickel. Hydrogen is obtained by heating hydrocarbons or coal at 1270 Kelvin temperature using nickel as catalyst. So two catalysts you can use. One is iron or nickel. Temperature you can see very high with hydrocarbon or coal. Let's see the reaction. Methane, which is hydrocarbon, reacting with water means steam. You see, it's so that this temperature water cannot remain in liquid state. We get mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. You know, its mixture is known as water gas. Once more, you can see over here now it's not hydrocarbon, it's coal. Reaction takes place in a sea. You can see carbon monoxide and hydrogen, water gas is obtained. In this case the proportion is 1:3, while in this case the proportion is 1:1. In any proportion, the mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen is always called water gas. Dihydrogen can be obtained by heating methanol at 50 bar. Nowadays in SI unit, the unit of pressure, earlier it was atmosphere but now bar is selected. So at 50 bar pressure and 673 Kelvin temperature in presence of cuprous oxide catalyst. Cl3OH liquid, 50 bar pressure, 673 Kelvin temperature, Cu2O catalyst. We get again a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. That is, in this case it is a mixture of 1:2. Now let's focus on this cuprous. You know that copper has two ions, Cu+1 and Cu+2. This Cu+1 is called cuprous, Cu+2 is called cupric, and in this you can check that oxidation state of copper is +1. So it is cuprous oxide. So So you may find it interesting that what we are doing, we are preparing hydrogen or we are preparing water gas. This water gas is used in synthesis of methanol, hydrocarbons and so many other compounds. That's why it is used in synthesis of so many substances. That's why it is known as syn gas, synthetic gas or syn gas. Again the question is saying that what we are preparing dihydrogen, we are preparing hydrogen, and we have prepared carbon monoxide plus hydrogen up till. So we are interested in hydrogen, so we need to remove carbon monoxide from this mixture. Okay, let's try. Dihydrogen can be obtained by heating water gas at 673 Kelvin temperature in presence of iron chromate catalyst. Take care, catalyst is FeRO4. With water vapor, carbon dioxide is removed and dihydrogen can be obtained. Let's see the equation. See, this is synthetic or water gas. You may think that water gas is actually CO plus H2, right? It's correct. But in this overall reaction, this hydrogen does not take part. So in equation, just this CO of water gas is written. Now this water gas is heated with steam, 673 Kelvin temperature, iron chromate is catalyst. What happens that this oxygen of water is added to carbon monoxide, that turns into carbon dioxide, and what is left behind is hydrogen. Now this carbon dioxide can be removed along with steam, or you can say that it is made water, so that can be removed from water gas, and this hydrogen is again added to this water gas. It also has hydrogen already, but by this reaction hydrogen of water is also added to it. Now this is how you can remove carbon monoxide in the form of carbon dioxide by this reaction. Second time it is obtained from the synthetic gas, sewage, sawdust, newspaper, etc. 77% of the industrial production of dihydrogen is from petrochemicals, 18% from coal, 4% by electricity, and 1% from other sources. Now you see over here 77% by petrochemicals. What do we understand by this? The petrochemicals means hydrocarbon. So hydrocarbon is converted first into water gas, and from that we get hydrogen. After that 18% from coal, same way coal is converted into water gas. 4% by electrolysis method, either by electrolysis of water, and we have just seen pure form that can be obtained by barium hydroxide, and 1% by other sources. So we will remember all these percentages can be asked in MCQ. Physical properties of dihydrogen. Dihydrogen is a colorless, odorless and tasteless gas. It is lighter than air, definitely average than molecular weight of what air is about 29 gram per mole, and that of hydrogen is very less, 2 gram per mole, just 2 gram per mole. It is insoluble in water. It is a combustible gas. Why? Because hydrogen undergoes combustion with oxygen and it produces water. Dihydrogen is a diamagnetic. I think now we know this word, diamagnetic. If hydrogen is applied external magnetic field, it will undergo little repulsion, so it is diamagnetic in nature. The value of its reduction potential is accepted 0.001. It is not 0, it is accepted. The better explanation. So what is reduction potential? The magnitude of electron accepting tendency of any element is given by the word reduction potential. It is accepted 0.0 or 0.00 volt, and accepting this we can find out the electron accepting tendency of other element. Same way we have accepted the electronegativity of lithium as 1. By these we can find out the electronegativity of other element by comparing them with lithium. Same way, electron accepting tendency of hydrogen is accepted 0.0 or 0.00 volt, and from that we can find out electron accepting tendencies of other elements.